We can hear you. So, hey, everybody in the Seek and Sip Travel world. I'm Joni, the founder of Seek and Sip Travel, where we travel the world searching for the perfect sip. Now, because we're not able to travel around the world like we usually do, today or lately, I thought it would be a great idea instead to bring that city and that inspired cocktail or that wine to you instead. So, today, we're going to be going to London, so the fabulous UK. And accompanying us on that journey will be Bombay Sapphire Gin and brand marketing lifestyle expert extraordinaire, Miss Lisa Brown. She's going to be leading our cocktail class. So if you guys have your ingredients, get them out. If not, it's all good. You can follow along. And then we're going to give the floor to Miss Lisa. So, hey, Lisa, introduce yourself to everybody. Tell us all about you.
Okay. Well, first of all, thank you. Thank you for having me here today to get away. And, you know, in this climate, this is what we need, right? A trip through a sip. So as Joni mentioned, my name is Lisa Brown. I am the brand lifestyle manager for Bombay Sapphire Gin here in Chicago. So today, I know Joni told you we're going to go to London. I changed my mind. I was thinking, you know, the other day it was gray and gloomy outside. And as much as I love London and I love the UK, one of my favorite food experiences in London was Indian and African inspired food. They have some amazing Indian and African cuisine. So can we switch it up a little bit?
Well,
can we go somewhere?
I don't see why not. That would be fine with me. So tell us before we get started, I'm going to ask you a couple questions. So tell us how you got to be the brand lifestyle expert for, I'm pretty sure I'm messing up your title, but that's the title for Sunday. What was your journey in the bartending world, and how did you get to be your position that you have with Bombay Sapphire Gin now?
Yeah, absolutely. So I started in the hospitality industry about 15 years ago. So I started off as a server, worked my way up through the ranks, made it to getting behind the bar. That passion was ignited working at the promontory. So the promontory was what kicked it off for me as far as my love for mixology and my passion for bartending. So in that journey, I made it to beverage director, bar manager, and that was where this opportunity presented itself for me. So I've been doing this for close to a year now. Been a whirlwind ever since, and really enjoying it.
Oh, wonderful. Well, congratulations on that. It's always really spectacular when we kind of put our hopes and dreams out there, and then that energy comes back to us and those blessings begin to manifest. So that's really amazing. Congratulations to you on that. We have another person that just joined us. Hey, August. He's like shaking his cocktail glass at us, letting us know he got his cocktail started. Thank you so much for joining us. So tell us a little bit about Bombay Sapphire Gin.
All right. So Bombay Sapphire Gin is a 100% naturally sourced gin. So all of our botanicals, we have 10 botanicals, all 10 of them are naturally sourced. And this is very, very important to our gin. It's one of our shining qualities because we have the luxury of having a master of botanicals who has the job of going around the world to source out all of these botanicals, which is really, really cool because there are no other gin companies or gin brands in the world that have that luxury and have that title. So we take a lot of pride and care into what we put into our gin. So what you're going to get from Bombay Sapphire is a very balanced, very harmonious gin, as opposed to being so juniper forward as some gins know that it's being. This is very easy to mix into cocktail. Really fun to play with and versatile.
So one of the things I found interesting, and I didn't know this about Bombay, is the well, you know, I look at everything through a travel lens. So how inspired all of your botanicals, the ingredients are, because they're so there. You have almonds from Spain, you have licorice from China, there's cassia bark from Indochina, you have berries from Java, grains of paradise from Africa, juniper berries from Italy, lemon peel from Spain, coriander from Morocco, angelica from Saxony, and then orris from Italy. So that's a pretty nice blend of botanicals all infused into this beautiful blue bottle here. So I was kind of excited to see that because some of those countries are definitely on my living list. We don't call them bucket lists at Seek and Sip. We call them living lists.
Absolutely. And it's funny that you brought that up because that's exactly the direction I was going in with this cocktail today. So, as I mentioned, as much as I love London and it's near and dear to my heart, these botanicals what make our looking at the botanicals on the bottle. I decided, today, why not let's take it to Morocco? So let's do some Moroccan spices. Let's do a Moroccan mule. I think that'd be fun, right?
Oh, that sounds good. Well, we are good to go. So I tell you what, just tell me where to start. Remember that we're not professional bartenders, even though I have some of the tools. I'm going to be asking some questions from just travel inspired things. And you guys who are listening at home, I wanted to point out a couple things. So Lisa was so very sweet and very generous to offer a couple swag bag items. So if you saw my post earlier, you would have seen this wonderful bar kit that she gifted us. So I'm going to be giving this away, actually. So this little bar kit, basically, if you have different tools, you can kind of put it together like this. If you're small enough, you can wear it as a crossbody, or maybe just put it over the shoulder like a little bag right here. You can put all of your tools in here. So if you're going, once we get off punishment, y'all, when we go to our family's house, to our friend's house, and you want to make cocktails, they buy the ingredients, you bring your tools. So thank you so very much, Lisa, for that. We will be giving this away. Some tools are included in here. Some of those tools were mine, so they're not all in the kit, but I wanted to make sure we pointed that out. Thank you so much for gifting us that. Okay, so let's get started. Where should we start first?
All right, so generally speaking, when building your cocktails, you want to start with your less expensive ingredient first. All right, so when building a mule, this is just a spin on a mule, so it's a classic mule. So what do we put in our mules? 3 main ingredients: your gin, your lime, and your ginger beer. Everything after that, you just play around with it as you like. So we're going to start off with our lime juice. I first squeeze my own little lime juice here. So I like a little bit more citrus. So I'm going to do 1 ounce, but you can play around with that ratio depending on what you like. I suggest a 1-to-1 with the citrus and the sweet, but again, totally up to you. So I'm starting with 1 ounce of lime juice.
Which side of the?
You're going to flip it.
1 ounce. Okay, so let's eyeball. Is the big side or the little side?
So let's start with the little side because you don't want to get mixed up. So little side, you're going to go all the way to the top.
Okay.
All right. Great. Now, this one calls for honey syrup. So honey syrup is simply a mix of honey and water. So you're going to do a 1-to-1 ratio of honey and water. I do.
Okay. So I was going to say, I'm going to have to cheat on this part because I forgot to make my honey water.
It's all right. We're working with what we got.
I would cheat on this part, but I am.
Okay. So I am doing 3/4 of my honey syrup.
Okay. I'm back. I was so bad. I knew I was forgetting something. I couldn't remember what it was I was forgetting. Okay. So I'm just gonna make my honey water really quick.
What do you think? What do you think? We got time. So yeah, this is just gonna add a little bit of sweetness, and it's a nice sweet heat we're gonna get from that honey syrup.
Mm-hmm. So with honey syrup, one thing I noticed that is kind of popular with bartenders is for you guys to make your own simple syrups and your own juices. If I choose to make a honey syrup, how long will it keep and how should I keep it? Should I put it in the refrigerator? Is it okay to put on the side, on the counter? And
actually, okay. Yeah.
Go ahead. I have to let people in, that's all.
Okay.
Hey, Rich.
So it's actually okay. Hey there. Can you hear me?
Yeah, he's connecting.
Okay.
But
I didn't know if you could hear me. A little bit.
I can hear you. What's the best way to store your honey syrup?
So you want to store it in an airtight container. I put mine in delis or like this, just a glass container. You don't have to refrigerate it. You can keep it out on the counter. I use it in my coffee. I use it in my tea. It's a nice thinner consistency. Yeah.
So how long does it keep again?
Generally, I mean, it never stays around that long, honestly. But I have to look that up. I don't want to be quoted on that.
Gotcha. Okay, so how much honey syrup am I using again?
So this is dependent on your palate. How sweet do you like it? Are you more of a citrus?
Not too sweet.
Not too sweet. I would suggest when I do 3/4 to my 1 ounce of citrus.
Okay.
So we'll start there.
Okay. Got it.
All right. We got those. So last but not least, now, this is again depending on your palate and how lit you want to get. I'm going to do 2 ounces of Bombay, but you can do 1.5 ounces or 1 ounce depending on you. But I'm going to do 2.
So I do have a question about gin. Gin has such a bad rep in the spirits world. It's one of the I always people like, I can't stand gin. It's too strong. It's nasty. It has such a bad rep. But one thing that I've noticed about the more I appreciate the spirits world is that it's definitely about quality with gin. So if you're not selecting the best type of gin or the best quality gin, it probably will taste pretty disgusting to you. So is that pretty good assessment?
Yeah. Assessment, absolutely. So when you're looking and you're thinking about your quality in terms of gin, you have 3 different classifications. So you've got your compound gins, which are pretty much just, you can make it blending 2 things. You need your neutral grain spirit, your juniper, and whatever your other botanicals are. Throw it in a bottle, let it macerate. You got gin. It's not really what we want to be drinking, right? That's like those kind of gins. So you're paying, small to nothing for it because it's not up to quality. Whereas you have a London dry style, like Bombay Sapphire, like Beef Eater, like those quintessential London dry gins that are known for that quality because they go through that distillation process. And you're not allowed to add any other additives after distillation has taken place. So you have to be very thoughtful and very, concerned about what you want to put into the product and the quality that you want to express in your gin.
Sure. Okay. Well, we're ready to move on if you're ready. So we have our honey syrup, our Bombay Sapphire Gin, and then we have our lime juice. So we're ready.
All right. So now we're going to shake it up.
Look at that. Ice coming. Now we a full shaker ice, fill it, shaker up with ice, or just a few pieces, or how are we doing that?
You don't want to dilute it too much because you want the ginger beer to be able to breathe to pour that in. So don't add too much ice. Fill it about halfway. Give it a few good shakes.
Okay. Is that it? Or keep going?
A few more. Okay. Cool. That's good. All right.
Okay.
Now for this one, you don't have to worry too much about new ice straining. I do a roll and dump. We're at home, not too much in here. So I just dump what I want and then I save the rest for later. So
I can't do that. I gotta use my fancy tools. And somebody was like, you're not even using that right. It looked right to me, so that's what I'm doing. Okay.
All right. Then you add your ice. And then you got your ginger beer. Top it off with ginger beer. Oh, you know what? We missed a step.
What was this?
We missed rimming the glass.
We didn't.
All right.
Whoops.
I got another idea. So here, these spices we got. All right, so let's talk about the spices. Let's go back. So the spices are what is inspired from Morocco. So as you see on the bottle, Moroccan coriander seed is one of the botanicals that's used in Bombay. So that's where this inspiration came from in making this little round concoction here. So we've got a little bit of cayenne. I've got some paprika in here, a little bit of coriander seed to kick the coriander up a notch, but it's really up to you and what you have in your pantry. Mm-hmm. So ideally, had we not already poured this into our glasses, you would rim it with lime juice and then, you know, kind of give yourself a full rim, half rim, whatever it is that you like. What I'm going to do in place that is take a little bit of this and just lightly sprinkle it on top of my drink.
So I decided to add a little bit of raw sugar to mine. Okay. Just giving people options just in case they don't, the cayenne might be a little too spicy for them. So that's what I wanted to do.
Yeah, sure. Okay. And that's a great,
okay, great so at the top of my ginger beer. Mm-hmm. And then add my spice.
Yep. Add the spice, add your ice. Ta-da. Da, da, da. Mm.
Okay, I think that's good.
It's good. All right, and last but not least, you can get your lime wedge. Mm-hmm.
Okay, wait, I gotta jump off camera again.
Okay.
I wasn't prepared. So Lisa, what's your favorite? I'm assuming you've been to London, being a brand manager for Bombay. So you've been to London before, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
In London.
So you said this cocktail is African Indian inspired. So tell us a little bit about the neighborhood that you visited that was such an inspiration for this cocktail.
So London is one of those places that really caught me off guard. I wasn't, I had heard things about it. I didn't know what to expect, but it's very, very diverse. And there are so many different cultures that are present and relevant there. And I was really, really inspired by the African and Indian influence, and especially in these huge neighborhoods, just really prominent and prevalent. So there's this one restaurant in particular called Dishoom. They have a few restaurants in London, and it just really, really takes both of those cultures and fuses it in such a way that it transports you to that street market. It transports you to Africa and to India. So that was one of the things that really stuck out to me in terms of London and its diversity in cultures.
Which I think is a very good thing because, no offense to anyone that might be from London, but the food is pretty bland outside of maybe fish and chips.
Yeah, right.
This is a little weird. I know we had a trip going and it was so hard for me to try and figure out where I wanted people to stay because one of the things that I look for when I'm designing a trip is definitely restaurant proximity, the bars, what's around there, what's the food like in that particular hotel. Yeah. And I know that they're big on having pork and beans or beans for breakfast and cheese and little fat sausages. I was like, okay, so we just gonna need fruit and maybe some oatmeal and maybe some toast because no one's eating Franken beans for breakfast. So, thank God for diversity, right? And everything. So that's cool. Okay. Well, I don't know what you think about my cocktail, but I'm gonna try it. Cheers.
Yeah. Cheers.
I like it. It's a little bit of spice that kind of gives you a little bit of kick on the back of your palate, but it's not hot. It's just kind of, you feel those influences coming in. Plus with the ginger, it's really kind of all tiny in. And then I think you don't even, the gin is so smooth that it's not it's, how sometimes you may drink something and I always say it catches you right here. It doesn't do that at all. It's super smooth, very refreshing. I think it's a perfect drink, summertime drink. I like it. So this is a really good cocktail design, Lisa. You should be very proud of yourself, girl. But that's really good. So
Good.
while we sip our cocktails, I'm gonna just let give everybody a couple other tips, interesting things that I found out about London. The funny thing about London is that London is kind of like a pass-through city for most people. So it's the city when they're trying to get somewhere else. So they're trying to go to like India or Paris or Dubai, Sri Lanka, something like that. Most people say that they can't spend any more than 2 or 3 days in London. Do you think that that's true, or do you not want to say?
No, in all honesty, I wouldn't I wouldn't go too much further than 3 days. 3 maybe so that you can see the different there's shortage. There are a few different neighborhoods that are worth, spending a day in, but it's definitely not like a week-long trip. And the weather is kind of like a big drawback for me. I'd much rather be somewhere in Morocco where it's warm and nice and tropical. And, London's just, like Chicago, gray and dreary a lot.
Yeah, a little rainy and cold. So here's another thing. I am gonna look at my notes. So it says that when you're touring London, that the one thing that you should know is that it says all of the museums in London are free. So if you're a big history buff, if you like museums, things like that, the British Museum, the Natural Museum, a modern museum, they're all free every day for people who live there and also tourists. You should tour Buckingham Palace in the summertime because it's actually open to tourists at that point. So other than that, chances are very slim that you're going to be able to get in. If you're a big theater buff, you like Shakespeare, the Globe Theater. Yep. The Globe Theater gives you the most authentic Shakespearean play atmosphere. So you should check that one out. Everyone says to make sure you bring very comfortable shoes because you're going to walk a lot in London. You're going to take advantage of what we in Chicago call the L. New Yorkers call the subway. It's called the tube in London. So it's just their train to get around the city. And then the Jack the Ripper tour. So that's something I would do. I'm all about that weird kind of, mystery.
I missed that when I was there.
Oh, did you do it?
No, I wanted to. I got to do it next time.
Oh, you missed it. Yeah, I was like, okay, then that sounds good. I would totally do something like that. So, all right. So let's take the rest of our time. We're just going to do this quick. And you guys that are on Zoom, we have you guys muted. So you can just give me a thumbs up or a thumbs down. So thumbs down is false. Thumbs up is true. Either that or just unmute yourself. It's just a few of us in, so we won't kind of be talking all over each other. So we're going to do true or false for London and gin trivia. Okay. So the first cocktail was created in Paris, France. True or false?
What was the question?
The first cocktail was created in Paris, France. So Ariel got a thumbs up. What did everyone else say? What do you say? Rich says no. August says yes. Lisa, what say you? Lisa says yes. Well, actually, that's false. They said that the first cocktail was actually created in 1798 in London. And if I read off the list of ingredients, it sounds like something Harry Potter would be putting together. It's pretty disgusting. So one thing I know for sure is that there's a lot of debate about the word cocktail. Was it even in existence at that point? Modern cocktails, something like the cocktail book was published in America. The modernization of cocktails was created here in America. Would you guys agree with that, Rich, Ariel? Yeah, okay. So we perfected the cocktail, basically. They could have created it, but we perfected it. Perfect. All right, number 2. Oh, you know what, Lisa? We got to talk about gin and tonics. I almost forgot. So gin and tonics has quickly become one of my favorite drinks. I can now drink it year round. And I really just attribute that to finding better types of gin to drink with that. So what's a tonic? What, because I think that's pretty interesting that people should know the origins of tonic.
So tonic was created way back in the day as a anti-malarial concoction. Mm-hmm. So gin was added to tonic just to make it a little bit more palatable. Mm-hmm. So they would add Old Time Gin. Old Time Gin was the sweetest, or is the sweetest form of gin, you know. So to kind of make it palatable, and then that's when the gin explosion began, because they realized, like, oh, not only can I fight malaria and fight all these diseases, but I can get lit. We can have some fun with this. So, you know, that was kind of rumored as being the beginning of the gin boom and the gin craze in London, of these soldiers that were prescribed gin and tonic to fight malaria and to fight other diseases.
Okay, so that kind of goes into my second true or false question. So G&T, or gin and tonic, actually was created and began in London as an anti-malarial medicine for soldiers. True or false? I got thumbs up everywhere. You know, I thought that was true myself. Half of it is true. It actually was created in India.
The tonic was created in India. Mm-hmm.
I like to interject. So quinine is that gets rid of the malaria, and tonic was the vehicle to get it there. So quinine, so real tonic, we now have left tonic out. Have left the quinine out. So that's that bitter kind of, almost like bitter orange type of taste. I actually really enjoy it. Some people do not, but Schweppes is the original company that uses real quinine. So quinine is the medicinal purpose of the tonic, which we then pair with the gin and tonic. And it did come from India. Tonic is now London has the #1 production in tonic, I believe. And Schweppes actually has a bunch of different products that we will never ever see in the US. When I was in Paris, Schweppes had this whole giant table of tonics that incorporated Indian spice and coriander and just a bunch of cool stuff. They are the leading most gin and tonic drinkers over there. I hope that one of you guys will take me on a trip with you so that we can go get all of this tonic.
When we get our punishment, yes.
Right.
Okay, last question. Which market, and this is just think of off the top of your head, which country, and I'll give you a hint. So it's not an American, it's not a Western country. Which country is the top global market for gin? Now, I don't know if this is true, so at least you can tell me if this is true or not, but let me see. So it's not a Western country. Mm-hmm. It's not an Asian country, nor is it a European country. It's a South Asian country. I'll narrow it all the way down.
India.
Nope. I was pretty surprised by this. Like I said, I don't know if this is all the way right, because sometimes you can get conflicting information. Mm-hmm. We're gonna see. Ariel, what do you think?
Bangladesh.
Nope. Rich, you got something to add here? No. Rich doesn't wish to say anything. Okay, Lisa, what do you think?
I don't know. This is stumping me because I thought I knew the answer, but let me know what you
had. Lumpia.
Really? The number
Lobo.
Okay. That's interesting.
Do you know what country it is?
Wait, you lagging. Say it again.
I was giving you food hints. Lumpia, chicken adobo.
The Philippines.
Yes.
That was my guess, but I'm just curious, like the Philippines.
I was close. I said Bangladesh.
Yeah, she was. So liquor.com says that the Philippines commands 43% of the gin market.
Huh.
I thought that was pretty interesting. I thought they were like big on beer. I never thought it would be gin.
Yeah, that's good to know.
Okay.
Or you know.
We want you to the data and let me know if that's really true. You know what I mean?
Yeah, of course.
Well, thank you so much, Lisa, for coming on and making cocktails with us. I'm definitely adding this one to my my rolling recipes. This was really, really good. I really did enjoy it. Thank you guys for tuning in. We learned a little bit about London and about the origins for Bombay Sapphire Gin. Give it a try. Even if you're super adverse to gin, I think personally that you should give it another try and make Bombay Sapphire your choice when you do. Thank you guys so much for joining us. Thank you, Lisa, for everything, for the gift, and then for teaching us how to make these cocktails. Thank you guys for tuning in. As always, you guys, we always encourage you to drink responsibly. Seek the help of a professional if you feel like you have an addiction. And then stay safe, stay inside the hell with coronavirus. We will see you guys next Sunday, 6 p.m. Thank you guys. Be safe.
Thanks, Joni. Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Are we staying on here?
Hold on. I got to take us off. Hold on.